Hello, everyone. Welcome to our podcast, The Difference is Life, where we are talking about all things pregnancy, all things pregnancy center. We are so excited you have joined us. My name is Evie Schusler, and I serve as the marketing coordinator. And today I'm so excited to be joined by Andrea Krazeise, who is the founder and executive director of the Pregnancy Center. So thank you for joining us today.
Sure.
It's going to be a great time, so let's dive in. Today we have an amazing topic of how a baby bottle can actually save a life. But before we dive into this, I'd love for our listeners to hear more about your story and how you started this pregnancy center. So let's go all the way back to the very beginning and what led you to start a pregnancy center.
So it all started with me being a banker. I was in the corporate world and happy to be in there. Never imagined that I would be one day starting a pregnancy center. But at one point in my life, in my walk with the Lord, I was challenged as to what was my position on this issue of abortion. And the truth be known, I was somewhat of a lukewarm Christian, and God just really opened my eyes, opened my heart. I got to see all the parties involved in an abortion decision, the frightened mother, an unborn child, the family, the pressure behind all of that. And so, long story short, I just he just opened my eyes and just called me into action. And that's kind of how I got started.
That's amazing. So growing up, as a teenager, did you ever think that one day you'd be here owning a pregnancy center?
No, I would have never imagined I was going to be starting a pregnancy center. And the truth be known, when I was called to start the pregnancy center, I was kicking and screaming, thinking, God, you've called the wrong person, because I was not qualified. I didn't know anything about how to counsel, how to start a center, how to, a building, volunteers, and all of that. Just proving that God doesn't call the qualified, he qualifies the called. And that's what he did. And just a knucklehead like me,
So you started the pregnancy center about 26 years ago, correct? And so how have you seen it grow throughout these past years?
Well, I'd have never imagined 26 years ago that we would have eventually started in Sanford and then go to Oviedo and then get a mobile unit and then now go to Winter Park. So I would have never imagined all of this in the last 26 years.
Yeah, that's amazing. So you started the first center in Sanford. So what did that look like? What led you to start open a second center in Oviedo?
Well, we always examine ourselves as leaders. What more would you have us do? Are there more clients that need our services? And so that's just kind of been the mantra is, Lord, where else would you have us go to reach more abortion vulnerable clients? And so every destination, every location was usually as a result of asking the Lord.
Mm-hmm. And what would you say working here for so long has been the most rewarding or your favorite part of being a part of the pregnancy center?
Well, probably the most rewarding part of this work, without question, is seeing a client who comes in, who's scared, who's overwhelmed. The odds are against her. She had plans for her life, and being pregnant was not one of them. And abortion being on the table for her, and for her to choose life for that baby, whether she parents that child, whether she places that baby for adoption. So that's huge to be able to see that, to actually be in the front row and witnessing her make that decision. And then for us to be able to stand alongside her and walk with her during that time.
Yeah, it's so powerful. On the flip side of things, what would you say has either been the toughest or hardest part about being part of the pregnancy center?
The hardest part, you're going to be surprised. You might think it's going to be, just society, the world, the enemy, the pro-choice community, the pro-abortion movement. But really, the hardest part of this ministry is often in the church. It's the apathy in the church. It's pastors who don't want to get involved because they consider this political. And so that's disheartening, when you see Christians that they don't see this issue as an issue that most inflames the heart of God, and that we as Christians are called to take action and to stand up and to defend the life of the unborn.
And I think it's even more rewarding when a pastor does come alongside us or a church does partner with us and says, we're with you, we stand for life.
Yeah, no question. We don't take that for granted because we know pastors, like I said, for them to say we want to be behind the pregnancy center, you're saying, I am a pro-life pastor. This is a pro-life church, and we're going to stand for the sanctity of human life. So it takes a lot of courage for a pastor to take that position.
Yeah. Are there any stories after working here for so long that have really impacted you about clients?
I'd have to say probably one of the most impactful testimonies over the years is probably Nicole. Nicole, we've talked about her along the years, but Nicole, she was involved in drugs and prostitution locally in the area here, and found herself pregnant. And Nicole's case was a very challenging situation. But the good news is, after she placed her baby for adoption, she chose to give her life to Christ, and she's changed things. I mean, she is now has a degree in seminary and wants to go into ministry at some point. So that is like an amazing turnaround. So I mean, that not that every client has that incredible kind of testimony, but I have to say was an amazing one. I mean, we really got to see the glimpse of God's goodness and mercy from her story.
And I feel like so often we don't get to see the fruit of what we do here, but that's such a precious case of getting to see the fruit of our ministry and what we do, which is so cool. Okay, so all of our services that we offer here are free. We do ultrasounds, pregnancy tests, resources, soon to be STI testing, and it's all free. So how are we able to do all of that for free?
Well, we're able to do that because of the partners, our ministry partners, and that consists of churches, clubs, but mostly just individual families that choose to make a sacrificial gift every month to support our centers. And then, of course, our big fundraisers, the baby bottle campaign being one of them, our Walk for Life. So a combination of, again, just Christians standing alongside us and our fundraisers.
So let's talk a little bit about the baby bottle campaign. What is it exactly?
So the baby bottle campaign is this very cool bottle that we pass out to about 50 churches in the area that say, yes, I want to do the baby bottle campaign. And how it works is on Mother's Day, bottles are passed out to these churches, and after 5 or 6 weeks, Father's Day comes, and the bottles are returned, and we do all the processing. We collect the bottles from the church and count everything, and then notify the church as to what they raised.
Why did you start the baby bottle campaign in the first place?
So we started the baby bottle campaign because it became a national fundraiser for pregnancy centers all over the country. And so this wasn't an idea that I created. Just saw the impact of just how easy it was. It's not threatening. It was a great way to bring awareness to the pregnancy center. It was a great way to get kids involved, families involved. So it just seemed like an easy way to raise support for the centers.
Yeah. So who should be a part of the campaign, or who can be a part of the campaign?
Well, anybody can be a part of the campaign, but generally it's churches. It's a pastor saying, yes, I want to do the campaign in our church, and we deliver it. And like I said, you go from there.
And what would you say is the benefit of those who say yes and decide to be a part of this campaign?
Well, the benefit for anyone to be a part of the baby bottle campaign is to be a part of something amazing that God is doing in our ministry. We are their local pregnancy center. It's easy for folks to oppose abortion, but here's a chance to do something, to put love into action. So being a part of the baby bottle campaign says, I am doing something,
And it's amazing because not everyone has the time to volunteer or to become an advocate, but a lot of people have loose change or a way to fill a bottle. So it's really a way for anyone, like you said, kids, adults, grandparents, anyone to say, like, hey, I support you, just easy way to come alongside us.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen people take their baby bottles to work, leave it on their desk. I've seen baby bottles in VBS programs where it's the boys against the girls collecting for, a highlighted ministry. It's, the baby bottle sits on the kitchen counter. And so the kids in the family are recognizing that this is a way to help babies, So it's just, there's just so many sweet benefits. But I think another benefit is to educate the next generation, without going into the graphic nature of this issue, but to let your children know that babies are important. Babies are a gift from God, and some mothers are afraid. And here is a way that we can help those moms.
And what does the pregnancy center do with the funds from this campaign?
So the funds that are raised from the baby bottle campaign represents a huge part of our operating expense. And as you've already mentioned, our services are free to our clients. So the funds that we raise help support all the services that we offer to our clients. Evie, I would add to that 88% of our clients that come into our center choose life for their babies, So, the funds that we raise from the baby bottle campaign help pay for marketing efforts. We have to get clients into the building. It helps a woman see a sonogram. That's a game changer when a young woman gets to see her baby. It's going into the boutique and collecting diapers and wipes and a car seat and a crib. So all of this is offered to this client.
It's amazing. It's so many different parts of our center being funded from one different campaign, not one specific thing, which is so powerful. So if there is a church or a pastor listening right now, what would you say to encourage them to be a part of this campaign?
I would encourage a pastor, first come and visit the center, come and meet me and just hear the heart of our work, see the awesome things that God is doing. And then second of all, consider participating in the campaign. It's so easy. We make it so easy. And third, being a part of the baby bottle campaign is a great start to display your commitment to the unborn and to the sanctity of human life.
Well, thank you so much for sharing your insight today. If you'd like to be a part of the Baby Bottle campaign, please feel free to give us a call or reach out. All of our information is on our website, thedifferenceislife.org. But thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for being here, Andrea, and we will see you next time.